So if you've been following the channel, you've seen that lately I've been buying vehicles real cheap and flipping them, making a couple of dollars off of it. Now, I'm not a car flipper, and the laws in my state are very strict about that, in the sense that I think you can only do 4 or 5, I believe it's 5 for the year, without having a dealer's license, and then DMV comes after you, so that's not good. I've reached my limit. Whether it's 4 5, I might have one more, but for the most part I'm done for the year. So I started out with a 2015 Ram 1500, bought that truck for $18,000 during a good time where the truck was just sitting around and nobody wanted to buy it. I guess people were not buying the vehicle. That was back in 2022. Only had like 100,000 miles, and it was a fantastic truck. But the issue with the truck was that, number one, I was tired of paying $500 a month for the car payment, and I wasn't driving it as much as I wanted to. Yeah, I took it on long vacations. It was a nice truck. We did some stuff to it, but there was money to be made on the table. Long story short, I put it up for sale and I sold it for $28,000, making a profit out of it of $10,000. From there, I picked up a Nissan Sentra, bought that cheap, flipped it, bought a Toyota Camry, real cheap, put some money into it, flipped it, just like the Sentra, and I wound up with probably the worst vehicle I've ever owned, which was the Nissan Xterra. Going from a Toyota Camry that was fully reliable, even though I had 209,000 miles, to this Xterra, which had a ton of issues. Yeah, I didn't like that vehicle. But I took a gamble, as there was a community for it, and people really loved that vehicle. I mean, 4-wheel drive, off-road capable, but it had a lot of problems. I fixed most of it, but I got to the point where there was still meat on the bone. So finally, I was done with that vehicle and I wanted something else. So I moved on to putting it on the Facebook Marketplace, and I got it for a lot. I sold it for a lot more than I initially thought. My initial plan was like $4,000, take it or leave it. I had a couple of people go back and forth. Long story short, it sold for $5,000, like $1,000 more than I initially planned. So with all that being said, I need another vehicle. And I found probably the rarest vehicle in my area, and hear me out, because if you're familiar with these trucks, you will know how hard it is to find one in this condition. So let me show you what I got. A 2004 Chevy Silverado with 171,000 miles. Now you're saying to yourself, wait a minute, these trucks are a dime a dozen. Everybody has them. You can see them all over the place. But in my area, which I'm in the South, it is hard to find one in this pristine condition. Now, typically when you find these trucks, they have this ridiculous lift kit on them. They have the whole squat action on them. They're very clapped out with dents and dings. The front end, the whole truck is just completely rugged out. But this truck is in beautiful condition, untouched, and ready to go. So now we're gonna start with the exterior and do a walk around. And as you can see, this truck is in beautiful condition. The paint, despite it sitting outside, and just having dirt on it, is in perfect condition. This truck was kept in a carport most of its life. One owner. It's a Southern truck, and the paint is beautiful. No dings, no dents, no scratches, no rust, and very well taken care of. Now, I have done some work to the truck. First off being, I put a tonneau cover on it, but the bed, the bed looks fantastic, brand new, like it was never really used. It did have a toolbox. It was the Cobalt version, and it was real small and low profile, but I like to have the tonneau covers. This is the roll-up one. Picked this up on Amazon for $130, and it's a lot easier when I travel to just stuff my junk in there. And what I do plan to do in the future is actually get the lock, so the thief might have to work a little bit. Yeah, they could cut this open, but hopefully by then somebody would see them doing something ridiculous and, maybe call. And as we come around and look at the wheel wells, that is the frame, and it looks perfect. Now, these are brand new tires. These are the Kumo Mavis Edition Mountaineers. Got them for a good price. A little bit of the off-road action, as I do plan to take this on the beach and some slight off-roading, which that has always been my plan. But brand new, and they run fantastic. Now, the truck did have a set of brand new looking tires, but when I checked the date code, they were 10 years old, and I don't trust tires like that. As you can see, underneath looks perfect, looks really good. Differential's not leaking. We do have Bilstein shocks on them, which is something I did, and I've done a bunch of videos and repairs. I'm actually recording this intro video after the fact, but it looks great. And as far as the muffler pipe, as you can see the discoloration, I just spray painted the tip just to make it look a lot better. Now crawling underneath, as you can see, everything looks really good. Don't mind the grease on the axle boot. That was actually me, because I went ahead and I greased up the ball joints, tie rods, all that type of stuff. And well, I got a little excited with the grease and I just kind of wiped it there. I need to clean it. Yeah, I know. But I mean, despite that, underneath looks really good, nice and clean. The only leak we have is the oil pan, which is typical of the typical of trucks of this vintage. These oil pans on these 4.8, 5.3, 6.0, they just all leak. So that is a job that we'll definitely be doing pretty soon, just dropping it down and putting a new oil pan. Also replacing the O-ring on the oil pickup for the oil pump. That is something that definitely does need to be done. The headlights are original. The chrome is not broken or chipping in any which way. We look underneath over here. Once again, everything is nice and clean. No rust, crust, or corrosion. So yeah, really good. And another thing to note, which is common in these trucks, the rocker panel and even the quarters, solid. They're the originals. That is the amazing thing about living in the South and a vehicle being in the South most of its life. Now let's open it up, take a look inside, and as you can see, the interior looks fantastic. The seat is not worn out. They have some nice floor mats over here. No buttons that are faded. Everything looks really good. Now our dash, our battery voltage or amp meter is broken, which is typical. The gauges go bad on this. That is something I will be fixing and addressing later on. I've went ahead and upgraded the radio, and I will be installing a reverse cam because, well, it's a nice feature to have. Going into the back, same thing. Not too bad, a little tight for the human that I travel with, but she'll be fine. Now let's pop open our hood. Now, as far as the engine, everything looks great. I've done a bunch of work. There are separate videos on that. We've already done plugs, wires. As you can see, I kind of messed up the insulation over there, but it's fine. Brand new radiator hoses, fresh coolant. And one of the things that intrigued me when I was looking at this is a newer alternator, had a new water pump. I did have to change the thermostat because they use some cheap Chinese knockoff, but I just used the AC Delco Chinese version, which, you know, that's fine. But no leaks or anything up here. A newer-ish battery. I think this one is date code 2022, so that's nice. Brake fluid, believe it or not, is actually clean. I flushed it out and did some brake upgrades already on it. And one thing I didn't record was I did have to change the steering gear on it. This thing had a ton of play. I checked the tie rods. Tie rods were fine. Idler arm. Everything was good. Steering gear was just completely worn out. So we went ahead and put a steering gear and a new pitman arm because, well, it's just easier to install that together. And the steering is perfect. It is tight and the alignment is great on this thing. So let's go ahead and let's fire it up. Now the truck fires up, runs really smooth, no issues, and even doing all the tune-up and everything, it just made the truck feel a lot more better. Now I've dove into this a bunch, and when I took off the valve covers, because it did have a valve cover leak, the engine looked practically brand new. Looks like the oil was changed, or maybe they replaced the engine. I did run the Carfax and nothing that states that it was an engine replacement, but either way, I mean, the motor looked brand new. So as you can see, 172,000 miles. Oil pressure looks great. Need to add some gas to it. Coolant system is working perfect. This does have four-wheel drive. Has all the convenient features on the steering wheel. Seats are so comfortable. If you're familiar with Chevys of this vintage, just my opinion, Chevy had the best seats. I mean, I love sitting in these trucks with these type of seats, especially for long trips. Really feels good on the back. It does have the direction and the temperature readout, which is pretty nice. But the dash, perfect condition, no cracks, no breaks. So as you can see, this truck is in perfect condition. And let's talk about what I paid and the stuff that I've run into for it. So I had gotten on the Facebook Marketplace. I was searching because I needed a vehicle, and although I do have a Toyota Tundra that I do drive, my dad actually drives that most, and that's the vehicle he uses. I miss having a truck. I didn't want a fancy truck. I didn't want an expensive truck payment. I didn't want anything fancy or too crazy. I wanted something simple, easy to work on, reliable, and this definitely checked the boxes. This one has the 4.8 V8. Yes, I kind of wish it was the 5.3, but still, these 4.8 5.3 motors, they're known to last well over 300,000 miles. I've done all the basic maintenance, which it wasn't that the truck was neglected. I think it was just overdue for some of the stuff. But by knocking out that stuff gives me more peace of mind that this truck is going to last me a long time. So now on the Facebook Marketplace, I was searching, I was looking, and if you look at what these things are going for on the Facebook Marketplaces, ones with over 200,000 miles, lift kits all clapped out, poor condition, poor paint, rust, you name it, rocker panels. I've seen them go anywhere for about $6,000 to $8,000 in piss poor condition. This one popped up. It was about an hour away from me. I went ahead, I took a look at it, and it checked the boxes, and boxes are good. It was a one owner, and the truck had just been sitting around for the past year or two, and they were quick to get rid of it. I took a look at it, fired it up, ran the Carfax, everything is perfect, and they wanted $4,000 for it, and I gave them $4,000. Didn't even negotiate, just because how well of condition this truck is. So my plans moving forward, I'm actually going to keep this for a while. Believe it or not, that is my plan. I really like this truck. It is reliable, it is comfortable, and I don't feel like committing to a car payment, so we're going to keep this around. You'll see a bunch of videos on all the maintenance items and a few things that I did do, one quick easy upgrade. As far as anything to it, I might do a rough country leveling kit just to make it sit a little higher. Other than that, this is going to be my daily driver for a while. I don't have any plans to get rid of it, and who knows, depending on how long I keep it, maybe we'll do some engine upgrade or something in the future. I mean, the sky's the limit with these trucks, and just researching, I mean, you could pop in the 6.0, upgrade to a 4L80, get rid of this clutch fan and put an electric fan on it. I mean, there's so much that you can do. We'll see, but for now, the truck is mostly squared away. It runs great, just a little nitpick stuff that I need to do. Very happy with it, and for $4,000, I truly believe it was a great deal and one of the rarest truck in my area, because you can't find them in this condition. So stay tuned, bunch of repair videos that you'll see coming up, and thanks for watching.